Binge the full week ad-free over at patreon.com/inspireddisorder.
What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
Run! Run! Movie on Hulu. It's like a suspense horror type of movie. Written and directed by the same guy that did Searching, Aneesh Chaganty. Fun movie. I enjoyed Searching. Movie, another thriller type of a movie where a dad is trying to search for his missing daughter, and it pretty much, I think the whole, like 99% of the movie takes place like on a computer screen. Really interesting premise, fun film. Fun as in kind of thrilling movie. It did its job for the genre. So excited to see the follow-up. Very simple movie. Stressful, despite how simple it is. There's only a few actors. Primarily one location. There's a couple other locations in the film, but it primarily takes place in one location. And it's about mother and daughter, and the daughter has a lot of ailments from birth, and the mother is very protective of the daughter. Obviously, this movie, spoilers kind of for how I would describe this movie. This movie is kind of a mix of Misery mixed with Eminem's Childhood. Like, if you were to take both of those together, that is kind of how I would describe Run. Now, that description also somewhat spoils that there is a twist about midway through this film that it makes this kind of simple movie more terrifying. Because, the movie opens with the mom giving birth to, I think it was a premature birth, and there's the opening title sequence shows like 4 or 5 different medical terms and what the definition of those terms are, like paralysis, diabetes, and then there was a couple other ones which I can't remember. Which I enjoyed that kind of opening because it really kind of sets the table for kind of giving you an idea that there's more at hand than what you see. But yeah, it opens with this mom giving birth to this baby that has a bunch of problems, and cut to now that girl is about to graduate high school or has graduated high school and hopefully going to a college. She's been homeschooled her whole life. She's definitely got one of those moms that's very protective because, fragile baby, gotta protect her, gotta keep her in a tight bubble, which in itself is terrifying. But there's a twist in this movie that makes it more terrifying, which kind of leads me to the feeling of Misery or Eminem's Childhood, where you kind of have the feeling that it's kind of a not Stockholm syndrome, but what's that term called? Munchausen by proxy, right? It's like the mom like fakes diseases in the kid to get normally it's to get attention, I think. But yeah, you kind of find out there's like the girl finds out that her mom is giving her a drug that she's not sure what it is. And she's got the house so locked down, like they don't have internet. She's able to use the internet. Like there's a scene where she's studying and she's given, like she has one of those egg timers, and that's the amount of time that she's allowed to use the internet. So very restricted kind of upbringing. Very sheltered. She's also in a wheelchair. That's one of the things that keeps her locked at home. And just very creepy, very creepy. Great performances by both the mom and the daughter. And when she finds out that she's given this pill, it's like her trying to find out what this pill is. And then the big hit, spoilers. There's so much. Spoilers back when I was comparing Misery and Eminem's Childhood to this movie. But there's that moment where she asks her mom, like she had tried calling different numbers, tried calling a pharmacy, and the pharmacy's like, "Oh, hey, I recognize this number. How you doing?" And she's like, she doesn't want her mom to know that she's trying to figure it out because her mom's already, she confronted her mom with like what this new pill is, and the mom clearly gaslighting her, saying she's like crazy. It's like, oh, that's not a prescription for me. That's just the receipt that was on that bottle. That prescription's actually for you. And she ends up convincing her mom to go see a movie. And during the movie, she decides to go to the restroom, but instead of going to the restroom, she rolls across the street to the pharmacy to in hopes to find out what this pill is. And in that moment, she finds out what the pill is, and it's a pill that dun 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 is causing her paralysis. Which there's so many ailments that she has. Like it was kind of clear up before that moment, leading up to that moment, that her mom was fucking with her, clearly, like the mom was like keeping her in a bubble more than she should be. There's clearly some shenanigans going on, but to find out that she's been chemically disabled, she's been paralyzed due to drug induced paralysis, which is just crazy. Which first, like, wouldn't that be detectable? Like, I know a big part of this Munchausen by proxy stuff is like they going to the doctors a lot, but wouldn't the doctors see that there's like this drug in her system that's causing her paralysis? Um there's also, I mean, that's not the only twist. I mean, that's one of the twists in this movie, where you find out that she's been drugged to be paralyzed. And then after she finds that out, like her mom gives her a shot, knocks her out, and she wakes up in her room, and her room is locked from the outside. And there's crazy, she's like, has to do these crazy things, being paralyzed still, to try and get out. So there's a lot of suspense in that. I mean, one, the character doesn't have legs that work. So it makes it more, there's like a scene where she has to crawl out of the window to get out of her room, to get to another. She's like in the second floor of this house, but there's the roof, overhang. So she has the ability to crawl to another window to try and get in. And she's clearly a smart girl. She's like building this 3D printer. She, obviously doesn't have access to the internet. She doesn't have a smartphone. So she's having to do a lot. She's having to figure a lot of things out on her own, which, leads to her being a very smart person. And the whole movie, she's trying to wait. She's waiting for colleges to get back to her, all the colleges that she's applied to hopefully get out of her mom's house and actually live a life. She seems very, very independent, despite having, all these different medical problems, still, being able to, function independently. But yeah, it leads to her like getting, it's obviously a big battle, her trying to get out of the house before her mom gets home. And of course, different things happen. She gets away for a moment, but things, her mom, she like gets away and is able to flag down a post office truck to help try and get her away. But her mom shows up, and she ends up getting drugged again, and dragged back home into like a basement or a different room where she's her wheelchair is chained up. And then she goes through and she discovers, which doesn't make any sense, why this mom would keep this stuff. But the mom had stored in the same room where her child is newly chained up. She has this box that has all the evidence of what the mom did. Basically, her baby in the opening scene. Spoilers again. I recommend watching this movie. If you like thrillers, definitely watch it. It's a fun movie. But one thing I didn't like, a gripe I have, is the fact that this box of evidence is there that explains everything, which is nice because it explains everything. But I think it could have been done in a better way. It doesn't make sense why she would have this evidence still. But there's like news clippings that kind of explain that the baby that you saw in the beginning of the movie died. It didn't survive, and that she stole a baby from another couple from the hospital, and that's the baby that she's been raising to have all of these different ailments. Now, I don't know if she I don't know, it's like obviously the paralysis was drug induced, but then like what were the like her testing her blood all the time? Was she actually a diabetic? Maybe, I mean, she could have been giving her fake insulin, could have just had saline instead of insulin, and then just, which I grew up, one of my best friends growing up was a diabetic, type 1 diabetic. So, I know how that goes. You have to test your blood all the time. You have to have a strict diet. You have to constantly monitor your blood sugar, make sure you don't, go too high or too low. Too high, you get sick. Too low, you can go into a coma. You have seizures. You have, bad things happen. But it's like to the extent of which she had these ailments was kind of questionable. But the fact that she had these articles clipped out is kind of ridiculous, and that she would chain her daughter up in a room that's the same room where she has all this evidence doesn't really make sense either. And then there's a closet that somehow has a lock on the inside of the closet door. That whole scene kind of sucked. Like, all the other parts of this movie were smart, written really well, directed well, acted well, but the logic of that scene really kind of hurt the movie, I felt. At least it took me out. It's like made me not believe this whole scenario to begin with. But everything else, I really liked it. The end of the movie, I like up until the very, very end of the movie, I didn't like it. Like when everything happens and it's like 7 years later or whatever, and she goes back to visit her mom, which I'm like, why is she visiting her mom? Like, there's so much of the end I didn't like up until there's a final twist at the very end of the movie, which made me understand why they added that part where she goes back to see her mom, and that kind of was like, okay, I feel you. But I really enjoyed the movie. Despite all my spoilers, despite not liking certain aspects of it, I think the majority of it's amazing. The performances are amazing. I'm interested to see what this writer-director does next, because it's very well done for the most part, and I enjoyed it. If you're looking for something suspenseful to watch, and it's on Hulu, so check it out. Run. Do you like to read? Do you like Kindles? Do you own a Kindle? Did you get a Kindle for Black Friday, for Christmas, for your birthday, for the holidays, for Hanukkah, for Kwanzaa? Did you get a Kindle for any reason whatsoever? Would you like to get Kindle Unlimited? What's Kindle Unlimited? It's unlimited reading and listening on any device. So you don't even need a Kindle. All you need is to sign up through my link, inspireddisorder.com/Kindle, and sign up for a free trial of Kindle Unlimited and get your read on. Either read with your eyeballs or your ear holes. Either one works when you sign up through my link, inspireddisorder.com/Kindle. Do it now. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Binge the full week ad-free over at patreon.com/Inspired Disorder. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. And follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!